This Soonerscoop.com video is streaming in crystal clear 4K resolution on YouTube thanks to Enjoy Vision in Oklahoma City. From the big plays to life's everyday moments, see it all in sharp focus with LASIK at Enjoy Vision. Enjoy Vision. This is where Soonerscoop LASIKs.
Hello and welcome back. Eddy Pierre-Louis, George Stoia here from the Soonerscoop.com studios. Oh, I should say noted speaker George Stoia gave a presentation to Bishop Kelly High School this morning in Tulsa. How'd that go?
Great. There's a lot of future sports journalists out there.
That's literally not what he told me. He actually said the opposite, quite honestly. Welcome back to a William and Lauren practice report. Kind of wrapping up the rest of the week with everything that happened over on Wednesday in Norman. Talking to Brent Venables as well, some of the players, and specifically some of the offensive linemen. I think everybody's going to really enjoy the conversations that we had with Michael Fasusi, Eddy Pierre-Louis as well.
Yeah, they were great. I love talking to Fasusi. He is just a joy every time we speak to him, and you can tell he's soaking everything in. And then Eddy Pierre-Louis, we haven't really spoken to him. I think we spoke to him during fall camp.
Yeah.
But during the season, this is the first time. So great to hear from him, and you can tell those guys have bright futures.
No doubt have added something to the Oklahoma run game as well as the offensive line. Before we get into everything, though, here on the program this afternoon, let us tell you about our good friends over at William & Lauren, the official custom clothier of OU football. William & Lauren outfits your favorite players and favorite hosts with George and Mr. Stoia there. Outfits your favorite OU players in custom suits that boost their confidence off the field to match their confidence on the field. Their perfectly tailored clothing ensures every suitor stands out in comfort and style at prices that make luxury accessible. Visit William & Lauren in Oklahoma City or online. You can do so as well in Tulsa, like you were up there in the 918 today. William and Lauren.com. Dress like a champion and make your style as legendary as Oklahoma football.
I looked really good that day.
It was a great suit. I told you the day of.
I know. I need to find another occasion to wear it.
Maybe just we'll tux up one day here on the
I'll wear it to
Soonerscoop.com YouTube channel.
If OU makes the playoff, I'll wear it to the playoff game.
What if they beat Bama?
No,
Maybe
they got to
like
make
the game day rewind?
Got to make the playoff.
Okay.
And I'll wear it.
Well, maybe we'll look forward to that. Certainly, Oklahoma's going to have a great opportunity in front of them with a 2:30 kickoff down in Tuscaloosa coming up next Saturday. I'm already kind of excited about it. I like the idea of somewhat having a weekend, a quiet weekend around these parts, but very excited to get down to Tuscaloosa, a place I've never been.
Yeah, hopefully we don't run into too many too long of TSA lines.
Yeah, I'm glad we're not flying this weekend because I think making the efforts to get out to Knoxville or, God forbid we had to go out to South Carolina this weekend, I don't know what we would be doing now.
We might have to be driving. But no, I'm looking forward to it too. It should be another great atmosphere. I know that I'm sure there's some Alabama fans that wish this game was at night, but 2:30 kicks should be great. And obviously just a massive matchup for OU. I mean, this is a game, we talked about it with Tennessee. They absolutely had to win that game. This game I don't think is a must win. Now, it certainly is one of those ones where you help yourself a lot. If you win this game, you're basically a shoo-in to get into the playoff if you can win the last two. But this is a game that Oklahoma can really solidify themselves as a playoff team and a real contender if they can go in there and upset Alabama. I think, you were telling me the line opened at, I want to say 12.
I was sent that it was 12.
Yeah.
It very well could have been lower than that because all
now
of a sudden
it's at 7.
Yeah, you look up and it's 7.5. So
I think it's going to be another close game, one-score game, and we'll get into all that next week with the game day preview. But it sounds like this week for Oklahoma, there's a lot of focus just internally on themselves, obviously getting healthy. You hope that some of these guys can get back for you next week. But this week it sounds like it's a pretty low-key week.
Certainly seems like there will be a lot of people out of Oklahoma City, Norman, Tulsa. You see all those college football, like the rating markets or whatever, come out. I bet there's going to be a number of eyeballs on the happenings in Tuscaloosa this weekend with LSU going to Bryant-Denny Stadium, and that's kind of where things sit. Big game down in Lubbock as well. I've enjoyed the memories from going down to West Texas.
Yeah, I mean, this is a kind of a good week for Oklahoma fans to sit back and, I'm going to have a story on Soonerscoop.com on Friday that you can read about, who to root for, basically.
Yeah, a little viewer's guide, huh?
Yeah, because there is some big games. Notre Dame, I know they're 26.5-point favorite over Navy, but every single week you're going to want to root against Notre Dame for Oklahoma to get in at 9-3 if they end up going 9-3. Obviously, like you said, the Texas Tech BYU game, super interested. That's a situation where you want the Big 12 to only get one team in.
Sure.
You might want BYU this weekend. So there's some interesting games. Alabama, LSU, just to see what's going on with Alabama. I think you want Alabama to win because I think that if you can go into Tuscaloosa and beat a top 5 team, that would be huge for your resume. So there's definitely, I know it's not the best slate, but I do think there's some very intriguing games.
The Tide about a 9.5, 10-point favorite over LSU, and then certainly, you keep your eye on the happenings in Lubbock. BYU still has a trip to Cincinnati, I believe, coming
Their
up
schedule's
in
kind
a
of
couple
difficult.
weeks. These 4 weeks, starting, I think it was last week with them, it seemed like maybe they could lose a couple games, and then all of a sudden you just have Tech run the table in the Big 12. Who knows? We'll be watching. All right, let's get back into the OU stuff. Certainly talked to Brent Venables on Wednesday night, as well as some of the defensive players. And it was something that we talked about on the Unofficial 40 this week with Kerry Burdock and Josh McCuistion. It seems like there is a tremendous amount of depth, and it certainly showed on Saturday night, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, where you have Kobie McKinzie go out. All of a sudden, Owen Heinecke slides in. He's calling the plays. He has 13 tackles, 12 in the first half. Danny Okoye slides in for R. Mason Thomas. There's certain, I think, just examples of this. You can go through almost every single game where it's somebody else making a play on that side of the football.
Yeah, I think when Brent Venables was hired, this is what he envisioned, right? We've heard the term competitive depth for the last 4 years, and it feels like Oklahoma finally has that. And it's at all 3 levels, like you said, whether it's R. Mason Thomas going out and Danny Okoye having to step in. Marcus Strong starting to earn more and more snaps, at defensive tackle. You got Owen Heinecke at linebacker. You look at corner. Gentry Williams doesn't play. Cortland Guillory's out there. Eli Bowen, Davon Jordan. They're all getting snaps. Safety. We saw Omarion Robinson, the true freshman, out there playing some safety. So they got a lot of dudes. And I think in this league and in college football nowadays, you have to have a lot of guys, especially on that side of the ball. And so it's kind of come to fruition for Brent Venables.
Talked to Brent Venables about that very subject, as well as Danny Okoye, Grayson Halton on Wednesday night.
Well, what I think that the players have done a good job of the work that they've put in, you being prepared at a high level, so that they can get in the game, expect to get in the game emotionally, physically, technically, and go execute. Sometimes if you're not the starter all year, you get your opportunity to get in the game, you're not quite as sharp, you're not as emotionally invested. That can happen. And you wonder how that can happen, but everybody has that responsibility. If you got on the plane to be ready, he certainly was. But I think the coaches have done a fantastic job of keeping guys on their toes when it comes to who's going to earn the right to start this week, and mixing it up, and then playing a lot of guys, and particularly more on defense. We have a lot of brand new guys on offense, so you don't want to play everybody's new. We have a foundation of a lot of experience on defense, but we've played a ton of players on defense all year long. And so I think that from a rotation standpoint and an expectation standpoint, guys have been prepared and been developing all season long because of the shared reps, and it really paid big dividends. Nate has done a great job at having those guys ready to play.
It's really exciting. We have a lot of talented guys on the defensive side of the ball, especially on the D-line, even the secondary, and, everybody we have on the team, I feel like we have depth everywhere that we need it. But especially on the D-line, being able to just look around and have a bunch of talented guys to learn from and, gain experience from in practice and on game day, it's really a great thing to have. And the development in the DN's room has been crazy, like seeing everybody progressively get better, even from fall camp going into the season, and even throughout the season. Like most teams, like the great teams get better throughout the season. They don't plateau. And seeing everybody really take their improvement as a priority, and seeing everybody bought in and invested, it's a really great feeling to have.
Yeah, they stepped up. We needed that. Like I said, V, he harps on just being ready when the moment happens, and Owen, that's my guy right there. He was ready. He was overly ready for the moment, and he just took over. And we all noticed, and that's where you put trust in the coaches. You show trust in us, and you just come out and do it every week.
I just try to be a sponge, just absorb as much as possible. You got guys like R. Mason and guys like Marvin. PJ's been a program guy, and even T1's been in the playbook like crazy, and you've seen the progression that he's made just by prioritizing the investment, and I'm trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, and I think that's what you see on the practice field. You earn that trust on the practice field. And guys have done a great job of showing up with a focused passion and intensity every day. We practice in a very competitive way with a game rep mentality. Our guys have really bought into that, and coaches have done a good job of that too, holding guys accountable to what it needs to look like now on the practice field. And a lot of those habits have shown up on defense, on game day.
Brent Venables talking about the competitive depth there over on the defensive side of the ball. It's been a little bit of the same, but yet way different when you flip over to the offensive side, right? With the offensive line that has played better over the last couple of weeks, they're got a installment of a bunch of young guys, including Michael Fasusi, who I think we had talked about. He was going to be in the mix from day one, it seemed like. But Brian Foje all of a sudden making way at right tackle for Derek Simmons, obviously had the concussion issues. And then Eddy Pierre-Louis makes the start on Saturday night, and we talked about the kind of in the game day rewind with Josh. We also talked about it a little bit in the locker room show on Tuesday. You feel really good about those three, but there's been something that has been instilled here with Bill Bedenbaugh's offensive line group. Take a quick time out from the practice report to tell you about our good friends over at Huel. Obviously, the mornings, they can be a chaotic mess at the Radosevich household. But I have the shaker. I'd take the powder, and it's basically a breakfast on the go.
Yeah, it's really filling, and like it says here on the package, 400 calories, 40 grams of protein. They got all sorts of nutrients and minerals in there. I'm a big fan of the daily greens, as you guys have heard on here. I know Carrie really likes them too. 42 vitamins, minerals, and superfoods, 4 grams of fiber. Get your electrolytes in.
Only 25 calories as well.
Yeah, I've started swapping this in instead of the coffee in the morning, so it's good stuff.
I like that. You can get this delivered to your house. All you got to do is go to Huel.com/SoonerScoop, as you see on the screen below. Huel.com/SoonerScoop. 15% off for new customers with the exclusive code SoonerScoop. Thank you to our good friends over at Huel. Back to the practice report.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Those 3 guys, we've been talking about them for years because they were such huge recruiting wins for Oklahoma, and even going back to Eddy Pierre-Louis and him picking Oklahoma, and then obviously the battles that were Michael Fasusi and Ryan Foje. Like we've talked about it since they got on campus. How quickly can they acclimate themselves and get ready to play? Because we knew Oklahoma was going to need them, and I don't think we saw that it was going to happen like this with some of the injuries and all of that. But it feels like those 3 have brought a new spark or energy or whatever term you want to use to that group. And, obviously they're going to have some mistakes. They're freshmen. They haven't played. I mean, Eddy Pierre-Louis, I know he's been here. This is his second year here, but he didn't really play a whole lot last year at all. He came in the summer, right. All of that. So, that was his first career start on the road against Tennessee in that atmosphere. So he's going to have some mistakes, but I really like the energy that he brings. Obviously the headbutting was awesome with Michael Fasusi, and then Fasusi and Foje. I just think that the ceiling is so high for those guys. They're going to have their moments where they look like freshmen out there, but they're also going to have moments of, man, those guys are future, NFL offensive linemen.
No doubt about it. The future does seem bright on the offensive line. We caught up with Eddy Pierre-Louis as well as Michael Fasusi and Brent Venables talking about the job Bill Bedenbaugh's done to get these guys ready to play.
Yeah, it's always going to be that across the board. Like, it was some of them guys chirping a little bit about us being younger guys, but we kind of tuned that out, blocked out that outside noise. Coach Bedenbaugh, he emphasized, blocking out that outside noise, and we made the job happen, so it was good.
They keep chirping in the second half at all?
Nah, not too much after that. And it was just like, we had a pregame speech, and it was also like, it was sitting with me a little bit. It was just like looking around, enjoying the moment, embracing the moment. That's been the main thing, and just looking around. There was a lot of fans out there, and just having fun. That's been the main thing.
Oh my God, I've learned a lot, bro. Talking about coming in, the things that I didn't know to the things that I know now. It's so much, seeing the whole field different, looking at the alignments, talking about the safeties, what they mean, not just focusing on the person that's across from me, being able to focus on the whole defense as a whole and know what's about to happen. So the biggest word is really just be anticipating, anticipate what's going to happen, do some side foot is up, big chance it could go inside. Got a tight alignments, good chance for a twist, things like that. And, it's just going to keep picking up. We're going to keep getting smarter. That's it.
How much do you feel like you've improved as a player since the beginning of the season?
I'll say incredibly a lot, I came into this season, I'm feeling very confident, and that's how he still is, if anything, going to keep getting confident, always confident, but never cocky, What else? I'd like add some boo-boos, but it's football, dog, it is what it is. Everybody in the country is a little sore, so all we can do is just get better.
How is your ankle feeling?
It's feeling good, man. What's it called? I'm able to pop out my stance, you feel me? I'm able to do what I need to do. Post set, strike. It's feeling great.
You've mentioned the 3 freshman offensive linemen. What does that say about the job Bill Beatenbow has done this year getting those guys especially ready?
Yeah, no, he's done fantastic. There's you don't want to handicap everybody else around you on offense because they're new guys, and so you put them in there, so they can go and execute what we need them to execute, and at a high level. So physically, mentally, emotionally, communication-wise, there's a lot that goes on. We talk about that's the position on your team that needs the chemistry and the cohesion and time spent together to really play well together. And so everybody plays a part in that. Nobody plays a bigger part than the players and Bill himself, and just been fantastic. And you got some other new guys there too, whether it's Derek or it's Jake as well.
I usually want to talk about the strain. I want to talk about the continuing getting better with the details for me, and just communication in general. And I feel like that's what we're getting better at, and there's still room for progress. Like it can be it's always the little things that we can work on, and the big things of course, but little things like our hands, our splits, our feet. Again, communication as well, everybody going to the right places. So, just piecing all of those together, let's keep going to make us get better.
How much fun is it going through this process with Ryan?
It's lit, man. That's my brother, and it's just good to have that tower, on the other side as well, and if anything, that's just building a relationship to be deeper, stronger, motivation, show that every time we see, every time we need to, every time we get to, and it's just a blessing,
We've been working on the small details about hands, eyes, and feet. That's been the main thing about playing offensive line. And we still got minor things that we need to critique a little bit in, but the main thing is that we've been doing a great job just communicating. That's been the main thing, communicating and having an idea which way the ball is going and how to leverage blocks. That's the most important thing.
I say the statement that makes is anything is possible if you can just work hard. I know for sure I worked hard. I know Ryan's worked hard. I know Eddie's worked hard. And every single one of the lines worked hard. So, when you get your opportunity, man, just go hard as you can. Keep it and just get better at it.
Don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but certainly when you start thinking about those 3 guys being key components of this offensive line moving forward, not just for the rest of this season, but obviously into the future, you can get pretty excited about that. For now, though, it does seem like we talked about John Mateer and taking advantage of the bye week this week. Obviously, he couldn't the last time with the hand injury, being out in Los Angeles with Dr. Shin. I have to think that the same could be said for these guys with the offensive line and talking about the communication. I would imagine the confidence that you take out of being able to go do it at Neyland Stadium of all places. Bryant Denny's going to be an extremely tough atmosphere as well. You have to think, though, that you take some type of confidence out of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the way that they performed, obviously, in Knoxville gives you some confidence. And then I think this bye week is super important, like you said, for the communication and cohesion. What do we always hear about the offensive line? It takes a while for that group of 5 to gel. And as good as those guys have been the last couple of weeks, they haven't played a whole lot together, right? Sure. Especially on that left side when you talk about Pierre-Louis and Fasusi. They haven't played next to each other a ton. And same with Foje and Fabechi-Wiwu, who, I think Wiwu's been a huge part of keeping this group together. Jake Michaela has been super solid in the middle. So I think that all of that is really important. The more time the more snaps they can have together, more time in the film room together, because it does feel like, Eddie, this is their 5 moving forward. We'll see about, if Derek Simmons gets healthy and he gets back, or Jacob Sexton late in the year, what does that look like? But I kind of think that Oklahoma's going to roll with this group because they found a lot of success with them the last couple weeks.
I think everybody saw the viral clip of Eddy Pierre-Louis coming out of the timeout there before John Mateer's fourth quarter touchdown to really kind of extend that lead back out right to 2 scores. But it went viral. It was a fun moment. They both talked about it on Wednesday night with the energy that Eddy Pierre-Louis has brought to the program.
You want to talk about just addition of, like I said, the strain and the physicality and the effort and the energy as a whole. Starting from last week, everything is just the whole practice. He's just having a game, came throughout the whole practice. Just that energy every single day that we brought in. I say that's the biggest thing that has really brought. And let's keep going up.
Is he like that all the time?
Yeah. It's not just on the field. It's in the locker room. It's every time, man. That's how it's got to be.
Mike Fasusi, the one who got me hyped up, he was talking to me. He was like, come on, we got to get this. This is an opportunity for us to get up big. And man, out of nowhere, I just gave him a little head, but that was just something that we got in tune into it. And he hit me back in the head. And I felt, when I watched the video, I realized Mike was running a lot faster. So I was like, that's good that we bring a source of energy and source of juice, like having fun out there. So that was the most important thing.
I won't lie. I was probably like a second, third time ever doing it. I say probably second time ever doing it. And to be honest, we didn't even plan it. It was just something that happened. It hit me first, and I was like, oh, come on then. You feel me? And boom, we just did it again. And anything, I just, you know what that does, raise the vibe. And, right there on that drive and score.
How fun is that to feed off of someone in that energy in that moment? And what did that do for you guys moving forward?
Well, you don't really know that that's what's happening in the moment. You just like, excuse me. You're just like, I'm playing maybe a little better, But then, you watch the film, you see what your teammates doing. You see that everything always going to come out together. So, having a guy that's going to go hard, that's going to strain every single rep. The only thing that you can do is go hard and strain every single rep. So just everything comes back together.
I've had a couple.
Was that Pierre-Louis in the back?
It might have been. I was trying to think who would have been there at that moment, but yeah, it might have been Eddy Pierre-Louis. In talking about him, let's stay with it. With Eddy Pierre, I think that this is kind of a fun development because at the beginning of the year, I think a lot of us thought that EPL was going to be at that right guard position or at one of the guard positions and basically at a starting lineup, maybe from day one. I remember some of the conversations we had back in August. For him not to be, but to stick with it and then to show up in, game 7 or game 8 of the season, a little bit like what we were talking about with the defense at the beginning of the program.
Yeah, I think that he's one of those guys that's obviously waited for his opportunity, and he ended up losing that battle back in fall camp to be the starter and stuck with it. And I don't think it was anything Heath Ozida did wrong. I just think Eddy Pierre-Louis kind of came in and provided a spark, and he's still a young guy, and I think maybe it took him some time for some of the stuff to click, and obviously a new offense and all of that. But I think he's got a tremendous future, and he's one of those guys that you remember back in his high school days. He's a freak athlete. This is a guy. What was the stuff about him? He was on the track team or something.
I think there's a couple other viral videos out there if you're running track back in the day.
So this is a guy that's got tremendous upside, and like I said earlier, his ceiling is super high. So he's only going to get better. I think he needs more reps, and again, like Fasusi and Foje, he's going to have some freshman moments because he hasn't played a ton, and especially against this competition, it's going to happen. But you just love his attitude and the headbutting stuff and sprinting to the line, all of that. It's not only good for him, but I think it's, like Brent said, it's infectious to the team.
I think for a lot of the guys too, and Michael Fasusi talked about it, that's just what he is. This is day in and day out, not really an act. Certainly. Let's get a little bit more with Eddy Pierre-Louis as well as Brent Venables talking about EPL being ready for the moment.
Each and every game I had opportunities to get in, so that was always a way for me to critique my reps and also take maximum capacity with my reps as well. Even though if I got 10 to 12 reps a couple games, I was able to maximize that to my opportunity. But having a full game of reps and watching myself through the first and fourth quarter like having that finish, that's the most important thing. It felt good to have an opportunity to get out there and play with the guys and actually play with the team and for the team. I actually got other snaps on special teams, so it was always about playing my role, and I got a bigger role, so I was able to step up a little bit and help the team get a win.
What was it like communication-wise for you guys on offense dealing with that level of crowdedness?
Yeah, it was very loud. It was a loud place, loud atmosphere, but we kind of dialed in together, and we kind of realized it's nothing too big for us, and we were able to dial in and communicate across the line, so that was really good.
I think more than anything, staying emotionally invested. And then when the way you see him out there on the field, that's how he practices. You know, he runs out of the huddle. You know, he sprints the line, but it's a very infectious thing. The mindset, the attitude, the passion, the energy. That's, to me, it starts there. The best units have that if they have something. And everybody's a little bit different, but I think Eddy has a unique ability to bring out, you know, the best in everybody around him. And until you get in the game and start doing it, it doesn't really kind of get the plane off the ground. And he's done that. But he's stayed ready. He hasn't gotten discouraged and lost his way. You know, go through the halfway through the year. And he's been in some other games, but, you know, to your point, just a couple of games ago, all right, here you go. And, man, he's jumped at the opportunity. He's been ready for the opportunity. And that's the challenge to other guys. We talk about that all the time, you know. Don't grow weary, stay invested, and stay ready. And he certainly, has done that.
It was always about the intensity level. I always felt like I always needed to bring out 110% each and every play. Even though sometimes fundamentals, technique, I still got to work on that. Still a lot of things I got to work on in general, but just bringing out there and having that intensity, that's something nobody can take from you. And that was also something my mom preached to me, just go out there and play with your heart, and that's what I feel like I've been playing with. Just continue that.
Certainly one of those guys that I'm sure is going to be used as an example from this year and then obviously on into the future with just his ability to stay ready. Kind of exciting. And I think that you're right. Like those five, something's happened over the last 3 weeks with the run game, and slowly but surely you get John Mateer going. Obviously he's coming off of one of his better performances just from the ground game. I know that was another talking point that we had, I think, rather, documented coming out of the Ole Miss game, but I don't know. Sky's the limit. It seems like here over the next 3 weeks, you can dream throughout the weekend. I think that's what the bye week allows.
It wasn't too long ago that we were in here like, man, they can't get a push.
Sure.
If they needed 1 yard, they can't get it, and now they're able to run the football. Brent said the stat last night, and I double checked it, but the stat of the last 3 weeks, they're top three in rushing in the SEC, and that's true. The only teams ahead of them, which is kind of surprising, is Arkansas and Auburn. Two teams that are not playing good football right now.
You want to be lumped in with them?
No, but for
these purposes, we'll allow it.
Yeah, you're rushing the football well. I think OU's averaging 166 yards on the ground the last 3 games, which is good. You can win football games doing that, so Oklahoma needs to keep doing that. We need to call this the Eddy Pierre-Louis practice report. That was a lot of EPL talk there.
Well, when you come talk to the media for the first time in a long time.
He was great, too.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for the program today. We are not done for the week, though. Another Around the Quarter, taking your questions from the Crimson Corner and answering them here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel. That will be up on Friday as well before we depart for a bye weekend, which should be kind of fun. Football, golf, in that order, I think.
I'll just be doing football, but it should be a good weekend.
Huh? Double tasking. For George Stoya, I'm Eddie Radosevich. We'll see you back here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel.